I don't believe in coincidence. Never have, probably never will. Maybe it's the prosecutor in me. Or maybe as I get a little older, I get a little wiser. But the timing of the resignation of CIA Director David Petraeus 3 days after a presidential election and just days before he is scheduled to testify before congressional committees seems anything but a coincidence. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Men have affairs. They always have. They probably always will. Most of the time, the ripple effect limited to immediate family. But this time, the ramifications are volcanic. When you're the head of the CIA, the national security risk and the potential counterintelligence disaster can be nothing short of a political tsunami. Not to mention yet another roadblock in getting to the truth of what happened to 4 innocent Americans massacred in Benghazi. Now, we know it wasn't about a video. We know the ambassador had asked for more security, even to the day he died. We know the White House was watching in real time as our men asked for help. But there's a lot that we don't know. You'll recall the CIA director initially went along with the White House video narrative, although within 3 days, he indicated in private that it was al-Qaeda connected. Take a look.
From what I understand that took place behind closed-door sessions is he did provide the reality that al-Qaeda affiliated groups participated in the attack.
Then, on October 26th, after the finger-pointing began as to who told Ty Woods to stand down and who made the decision not to send help, the CIA issued this statement. No one at any level in the CIA told anybody not to help those in need. Claims to the contrary are simply inaccurate. Now the CIA director, with key information, resigns. So when did the president know his CIA head was having an affair? When did the FBI tell the president of its investigation? And would the FBI, not known for its warm and cuddly relationship with the CIA, dare investigate the head of the CIA without telling the President of the United States? And all of a sudden we hear about it, the investigation, 2 days after the election. Now, we know that Paula Broadwell met the general in the spring of 2006. By 2008, pursued him as part of her PhD dissertation. And in 2010, was in Afghanistan with him, embedded with the military. Within a year, he goes through an FBI investigation for Senate confirmation as CIA director. Do you really think that if Paula Broadwell connected with a general in 2006, embedded with him in Afghanistan in 2010, that the FBI did not know of their relationship in 2011? Which relationship he admits. The FBI didn't know? How could they not know? They know how often your dog pees. And if they did know, why did they hold it? Why now? Why? I don't believe in coincidences, never have, and probably never will. Joining me now, retired Lieutenant General and Fox News military analyst, Tom McInerney. Good evening, General.
Good evening, Judge.
Do you believe in coincidence?
Rest your case. You have a very compelling case. First of all, let me say, General Dave Petraeus is one of the greatest generals this nation has ever had. I've known him when he was a colonel. I've been a great fan. I was with him in Mosul when he was a 2-star. Had the 101st, so I cannot give higher plaudits, and this is just crushing to all military people for this to happen. Now, what is disturbing, and you've laid a lot of it out, initially I thought it was, well, those things happen, but when he's not going to give his testimony 7 days before he's supposed to give it, and then you find out that the FBI has been looking at this in the spring. Why didn't they then have his boss, General Jim Clapper, ask, hey, Dave, is this true? If he said yes, which he wouldn't deny, then you say, all right, we'll figure out how, but you got to go. He knows that. But they held it. And you're right on his confirmation. And then the normal process, though, of how you handle that, when that is broken, in the confidence how we handle senior people like that, then you start to wonder, and it keeps coming back to Benghazi and your points on Benghazi.
Well, General, you know, I'm going to add to that also that once a senior administration official is within the scope of an FBI investigation, the chair and ranking member of key committees must immediately be briefed by the FBI. And would you agree with me that if the head of the CIA is being investigated with the FBI, that Bob Mueller would have told the president, would have had to tell the president, in addition to key people of the relevant committees?
Absolutely. I mean, there's just no question about that. They would have known, and they would have taken care of it very quickly. And I think that's our particular point. Why didn't they do this? Why did they break the normal pattern of behavior of how you handle these situations?
Oh, right. Now, let's assume that they did know, because if the FBI is saying we were investigating him and the general is admitting that he had an affair, then the question really is why hold it? And, you know, by holding this information, and I got to tell you, as you look at some of these tapes and the articles and the book that she wrote about him, All In, it's clear that she knew a lot about him. You know, was someone, you know, telling him he had to toe the line? Was someone saying, you know, we're going to hold this over your head now? Is that why he quit? So he could tell the truth?
That's my supposition, because I think that the one thing he knew, that when he had to go testify under oath, he was not going to get caught for perjury and go for jail.
Yeah, but
jail.
General, let me ask you this. Everyone, absolutely everyone agrees that General David Petraeus is without a doubt not only one of the greatest military leaders of our generation, but of this country. And the thought of his lying, or that's too strong a word, of not being as straightforward as he could be, I mean, do you think that would really depend on whether he works for the administration or not? Wouldn't be honest at all times?
I believe he would. Now, his initial cover story that he came out with, I believe, was either politicized or it may have been a cover story for other activities that were going on at the annex. But in any case, that's not under oath. He was testifying in front of members of Congress. He was briefing, not testifying, and they're not under oath when they go up there to do that. But when you're testifying under oath, then again, you've got the perjury problem. And look, Dave Petraeus is not going to lie. He's just not that kind of person. He's going to take his lumps where they are and tell exactly what happened. And I believe that's the conflict. He was going to tell exactly what happened.
In general, again, I don't think anyone would doubt that. But let's talk about leverage here. If you know someone's having an affair, that's incredible leverage. I mean, forget about the national security problem that it engenders. But what about a court-martial? That's leverage, too. I mean, lesser men in the military have been court-martialed for having affairs, having nothing to do with criminal charges, but just for having affairs. Yes?
Yes, it's against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But frankly, for senior people, they take care of it very discreetly and move them out of the way very quietly in a nice way. But technically, you are correct. He is subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and adultery is a charge.
Well, very interesting, General. And what I think is most interesting is that he came out with it and said, I did have an affair. He could have just said, I'm resigning. But in any event, General Tom McInerney, always good to see you, General. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.